Hey everyone, I'm Joe Ferzoco.
And I'm Chris Ferzoco, and in today's video, we are going to be discussing, Joe, market statistics. We're going to look at fourth quarter of 2023 versus the stats of third quarter 2023.
2023, that sounds like a good plan to me, Chris. And if this is your first time to the channel, please make sure you subscribe below, tap that bell for instant notifications, and please hit the like button so you'd be the first to get the most up-to-date market information down here at the Jersey Shore. And I mean that Jersey Shore, Brigantine to Cape May, and all towns in between. We got Ventnor, Margate, Longport, Ocean City, Somers Point, Sea Isle, Strathmere. Sometimes we do forget Strathmere. Sorry about that, guys. Stone Harbor, Avalon, Townsend's Inlet. If you really want to get nitpicky on that. North Wildwood, Wildwood Crest, West Wildwood, Diamond Beach, Lower Township, Cape May, North Cape May Villas, Delhaven, Middle Township, Cape May Courthouse, Upper Township. Chris, get us started with the Ocean City area.
I wasn't sure if you were finished. Yeah, I'm going to start right off with Ocean City, folks. And as always, in this video, we're going to be talking about the actual sales value, Joe, right? So we're going to talk about the overall value of properties. We're going to look at the number of properties that came on the market. We're going to look at the number of properties that closed during the month. And we're going to look at the actual sale price versus the list price of the overall values of these properties as well. Okay. And remember, we are talking about all property here, folks. So we're talking about your beachfronts, we're talking about your efficiencies, we're talking about land, we're talking about multifamilies, condominiums, hotels, you name it. If it's been on the market, that's all included in this MLS video. So here we go, Ocean City. Okay, so the overall sale price of Ocean City actually, Joe, was very minimal change in the fourth quarter versus third. Actually went from 1.9, slight decrease down to 1.17%. So just a minimal 1.5% change, nothing scary, nothing major, just a little slight adjustment there. As for the number of properties that came on the market, this actually dropped about 14%. We went from 344 in the third quarter down to 295 in the fourth. Okay. So a little bit of a decrease there. As for the number of properties that actually closed, we had just under or just over 9% decrease there. We went from 160 in the month of November, in the third quarter down to 145 in the fourth quarter. So we actually saw a decrease that came on the market and a decrease in what actually closed. As for the actual sale price versus list price, we actually had a significantly increase. We actually went, well, not significant, actually, we went up very minimal to 0.3%. So we're right around 96, just over 96%. So numbers are staying pretty flat in the overall value of what sellers are getting for the homes and what they're selling for versus what they've been asking for their ask price. Right. All right. Now, jumping on down to Sea Isle City, what we're looking at there, we actually saw an increase in value in the fourth quarter. We went up to 1.52 million from 1.48, so a little bit of an increase there, but nonetheless, still an increase. And one of the only towns I actually saw an increase in, Joe, in the research that I had done. As for the number of properties that actually came on the market, we saw an increase there as well. Fourth quarter was up to 55, up from virtually just 50 in the month of November. And as for the number of properties that actually closed, it was one differential number. It actually went from 28 down to 27. So not a major change there in the number of properties that actually had sold month over month. As for the overall sales value right now, in Sea Isle, you actually get about 97% of the asking price in the month of December. So still, you had an increase in the value of the overall sales value. And you saw that you actually had an increase to 97% in the overall sale price versus list price.
Yeah. Okay. So that's those are some pretty good numbers. I mean, from month to month to month in the fourth quarter. You just you look at things, and the fourth quarter being the end of the year. I mean, thanks to capping off the stat, but we do sometimes have a tendency to see some downward trends in properties listed and things to that nature as we do that. When we roll into, let's say, North Wildwood here, slight differentiation here, like said with Ocean City, we did have actually a little bit of an uptick in the fourth quarter. $650,000 was your average sale price in the fourth quarter as opposed to $490,000 in the third quarter. With properties, the number of properties that came on the market, big difference here. We had 54 come on the market in the fourth quarter as opposed to 92 in the third quarter. So that's almost, it's almost over a 40% difference in the number of properties that came on the market in North Wildwood. As far as the number of properties that sold, not a huge difference, 25% decrease in the fourth quarter. We had 25 close. We had 40 close in the month in the fourth quarter as opposed to 53 in the third quarter. So again, another drop there in the fourth quarter. List price to sale price, you're starting at a different number. So your list price to sale price was 98% in the fourth quarter. However, you were starting at 659,000, as opposed to, they got 100%, almost 101% of their list price to sale price in the third quarter. However, they were starting at 490,000. So almost a $150,000 difference there.
Yep.
I'd rather get 98% and start $150,000 higher. So that's for North Wildwood. Moving into Wildwood for the fourth quarter, identical. Average list price was sale price was 528,000 in the third and fourth quarter. I had to double check that, but yep, they came up identical. As far as the number of properties that came on the market in the fourth quarter, again, down. 72 properties came on the market as opposed to 100 in the third quarter. The number of properties that sold, actually there was an increase here. We had 63 properties sell in Wildwood in the fourth quarter as opposed to 58. And then when you look at your list price to sale price, it was 98% in both quarters. Didn't change, and neither did the sale price. Moving into Wildwood Crest, not too big of a change here. The average sale price did drop. It was 631,000 as opposed to 662 in the third quarter. Number of properties that came on the market, we only had 49 that came on in the Crest as opposed to 69 in quarter number 3. And then the number of properties that sold, that was also down, 35 in the fourth quarter as opposed to 57 in the third, which is about a 39-40% decrease. And then when we look at your list price to sale price, we're around 95% in the fourth quarter. Again, starting at 663,000. Your average sale price in the third quarter was 97%, and that started slightly higher there. Sea Point Village, really just not a lot of activity in not only the month of November and December, but when you look at the third quarter to the fourth quarter. Average sale price was 790,000 in the fourth, 791 in the third. So not really too much of a change there. Nope. Big drop though in the number of properties that came on the market. If when we did the December versus November, there was 0 happenings in both months. Well, we only had 4 properties come on the market in the fourth quarter as opposed to 13 in the third quarter. So, there's a big drop in inventory there as far as the number of properties that are available for sale. We had 9 close and 7 close in the third quarter. List price to sale price, they both running right around 97, 98%, and right around 790,000, $790,000, $800,000 in Diamond Beach and Sea Point Village. We go into Cape May. This was another place where we got in the fourth quarter. We did see a drop, about a $300,000 drop, $1.1 million sale price in the fourth quarter as opposed to 1.4 in the third quarter. So a little bit of a drop there in the fourth. Number of properties came on the market pretty much static, same 23, 25 respectively. Number of properties that closed in Cape May in the third and fourth quarter, identical, 19 in each quarter. And your list price to sale price, they both ran around the same, 95, 96%. The only difference being in the fourth quarter, you started at 1.19 as opposed to 1.47.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, interesting there with
changes
May.
there.
Sure,
Yep.
Absolutely. Joe, I'm going to roll into the primary home market here, just kind of see what's going on in that area there. And we're going to look at Upper Township. We actually had a decrease in the overall value. We went from 550,000 down to 503,000. So a little bit of a difference there, about 8.5% drop in the overall value. As for the number of properties that came on the market, we had the exact same number, 47 each month or each quarter there. So that number just pretty static, things staying pretty consistent. So the number of properties closing, we did drop about 30%. We were down to 23 properties from 33 the quarter before, but still good, still seeing a nice turnover there heading into the fourth quarter. As for the overall sale price versus list price, we actually had a slight increase of about 1%. But you're still getting over 96%, as we mentioned in one of the other videos. Seems to be the norm, everything being about 95 and better still, even heading into the end of the year. As for the fourth quarter in Summers Point, you look at the overall value there, that had actually dropped from 462,000 all the way down to 422,000 in the fourth quarter, so about 8.5% drop there. Number of properties that listed actually also dropped. It went from 68 down to 57, and the number of properties that closed, Joe, also dropped from 44 down to 32. So you're seeing some decreases there as well. We're looking at pretty much the exact same overall sale price versus list price at 98%, so that's staying very consistent as well. So again, in Summers Point, you're seeing a lot more consistency there, fourth quarter and third quarter alike.
Yeah, very good there. And then when we drove down further on the Parkway into North Cape May, doing the third quarter, fourth quarter versus third quarter. So your average sale price in the fourth quarter was $627,000 as opposed to $469,000 in the third quarter. So had a couple of bay fronts that closed in North Cape May in the fourth quarter, which really kind of propelled that number upward. I mean, that's a $200,000 price differential between the fourth and the third quarter. So it's just something to keep an eye on as we roll into the first quarter of 2024. As far as the number of properties that came on the market, we had 28 come on the market in the month of, or actually in the fourth quarter, as opposed to 23 that came on in the third quarter. So we even had an uptick in the amount of properties that came on the market. As far as the number of properties that sold, 23 respectively in both months. So pretty much the same there. List price to sale price, of course, a huge difference. 98% list price to sale price in the fourth quarter, and you were starting at $635,000, as opposed to 98% in the third quarter, but you started at $476,000. So again, I think I'd rather start at $200,000 higher. When we drop into Cape May Courthouse, pretty similar there. Your average sale price in the fourth quarter was $431,000, $418,000 in the third quarter. So again, a little, uptick in the sale price, and most of the towns that we looked at here in the southern half of the county in the fourth quarter, they were all, some of them were an uptick as far as their average sale price. Number of properties came on the market. We had 50 in the fourth quarter in Cape May Courthouse, 70 in the third quarter, and the number of properties that sold, 33 properties closed in Cape May Courthouse in the fourth quarter, as opposed to 55 in the in the third quarter. So that was a drop of about 40%. And of course, your list price to sale price in both quarters, respectively, right around 97% there. So that kind of wraps up the offshore market there for the southern half of the county that we cover. What are your thoughts there with that, Chris?
Well, I think what's interesting is just kind of looking at the number of properties that sold. I mean, some of the towns here, and if you look at go back over the amount of properties that we have here, or areas, about 11 or 12 areas here, some of them, Joe, were big. I mean, you're talking 39%, you're looking at 30%, 27%. So some of the numbers and percentages are pretty high for the number of properties that had closed quarter over quarter. So that's something to keep an eye on, because we are watching, obviously, the number of properties coming on the market. That's going to be important. That's been what's driving the real estate market right now. But kind of taking a look at these two quarters, by the time we got to this point, we really settled into the way things were, with regards to interest rates, with the way the market changes and everything else. So we really kind of settled in, and you really saw those sale price values really kind of holding steady. Most of them very consistent, pretty much the exact same. You saw some slight increases in the overall sale value, saw some slight decreases in overall sale values as well. So very consistent, I would say, third quarter to fourth quarter. The one overall is, again, just those number of properties that actually closed was fairly big. And we want to kind of watch those numbers there as well
as we roll into the new year. So, folks, and if you are looking to buy or sell down here in South Jersey in any one of those beautiful towns that I mentioned at the top of this video, I won't do that again to you. Please feel free to reach out, give us a call. Whether it's this week, next month, 6 months, or a year from now, give us a call, shoot us a text. Chris or myself, we are always offering free market analysis or equity updates on your property. Sort of like check that box if it's something you're looking to do maybe in the future, or if it's something you're looking to do right away. And of course, if you're looking to purchase something, we can certainly get you headed in the right direction to make sure that you find that perfect property for you, yourself, and your family here in South Jersey. So that'll wrap it up for the fourth quarter compared to the third quarter of 2023. That's Chris, I'm Joe, and until next time, we'll see you at the beach.